Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day you are watching this broadcast. This is Dr. Eric Tangu Monkem with IEM Approach, where we inspire, equip, and motivate people to discover God's great potential in them, develop that potential, and deploy it. We believe each individual has great potential in them. However, potential is just potential. You will need to harness that potential. You need to develop it, and you need to unleash it. You need to deploy the potential. When you deploy the potential, you're going to find fulfillment and contentment because you are going to be rendering goods and services to other people. The greatest commandment is to love God and love your neighbor as yourself. When you love your neighbor, you are going to provide, you're going to take care of them. And you do this by solving problems that your neighbors have. And you solve these problems through goods and services. Just because you get paid for rendering a service, just because you get paid for providing a good, does not take away the fact that you are solving a problem. Money is just a way of saying thank you. It's a way of facilitating the exchange of goods and services between all of us. I want to welcome you for joining us today. Have an exciting topic for you today, and I hope you are not only going to enjoy it, it's going to inspire you, it's going to strengthen you, it's going to give you the impetus to rise up and be all you were created to be. Before we move ahead, I want to encourage you to do these three things for me. It's not going to cost you anything. The only cost is some social currency and a few dollars. You can do that. Support what we are doing. Facilitate it. Help us get this message into the hands of as many people as possible. Share the broadcast. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done that yet. Great content is coming your way. I speak from the heart. I speak from experience. I sincerely believe that you have all what it's going to take for you to be all you were created to be. Because you've been created in God's image and likeness, and God does not create things that are useless. The last thing is for you to get a copy of my book, Racism, Where is Your Sting? A provocative look at the beginning and the end of racism. Grab a copy. Grab more than one copy. You can help other people get this uplifting message by getting a copy for them as well. We have it in audiobooks. It's found on Audibles. And you can get the book on Amazon, on my website, Kobo Books, Barnes and Nobles, and all other places where books are sold. If you have difficulties getting the book, check the link below. We are going to dive right into our subject of today. We are right now in chapter 6 of the book, and we are talking about the end of racism. Yes, there is an end to racism. It's going to start with you. We've seen three things that we need. We've seen two things that we need to understand on how to end racism. The first one was that you need to know who you are. If you say you are black, you are not. That's a color. If you say you are white, you are not. That's a color. If you say you are an engineer, no, that is what you do. If you say you're an African, that is a continent. Who are you? Nobody should define who you are for you. No research, no experts, no government, nobody should define who you are. You need to know who you are. And the second one, you need to know that you are a child of God. That is very important. And when I shared that, I also said if you are not yet a child of God, if you don't know how to become a child of God, how to get reconciled to God, help is available. Today, we're going to move to the third thing that you need to know in order to put racism to an end. And that is, you are not inferior. The next discussion is going to be on you are not superior. Please, please, I'm pleading with you, listen and listen carefully. It's easy to misinterpret what I'm trying to say because it may not make sense. However, truth is what sets people free. Where on earth did you get the idea that you are inferior? Who told you that? What makes you think that you are inferior? You have to make sure that the internal dialogue that you have with yourself is in alignment with what your creator says about you. At the core, at the heart of the book is the fact that racism is a social construct. Don't mind what mass media keeps saying, everything is racist, everything is racist. It's a social construct. And what we call racism is a manifestation of inferiority and superiority complex that exists anywhere, everywhere you find people. This complex is at play. There are two categories of people. Those who, for some, I don't know what their problem is. We're going to try to dive into that tomorrow. They have a need to feel superior. And for them to be superior, they need somebody to be inferior. And somehow they've tried to convince some people to believe that they are inferior. And those who have taken the inferior position like to make excuses. I'm where I am because this person makes me feel in a certain way. And they think that justifies them accepting the position of inferiority. Nobody is superior. I cannot say this enough. Nobody is superior and nobody is inferior. Since we have already established that you are a child of God, it automatically means that you are not inferior. Inferior, like in being substandard, subhuman, that you lack something that is going to prevent you from becoming all you were created to be. It's an insult to God. It's an insult to your creator to believe that you are inferior because somebody says so, because somebody has written about it, because somebody acts so. You are not inferior. If you are suffering from inferiority complex, I want you to listen to me carefully today because this is the day that you're going to be set free. You need to hear the truth and hear it very carefully. Apple makes different types of phones. The iPhone comes in different colors. Please listen to me, somebody. I don't have this in my notes. Apple makes, they have iPhones that come in different colors. Toyota makes let's pick one of the brands, maybe the Camry, comes in different colors, isn't it? Can you with all certainty tell me that because the iPhone is having a pink color or black color or yellow color, you name it, or golden color, it makes it superior in performance to another iPhone? If you dare tell Apple that, they may sue you. What about the different colors of Camry? It can be white, it can be yellow, it can be green, it can be black, it can be red, it can be orange. It does not affect the performance of the engine. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Color. Color has nothing to do with nothing. Even if we wanted to play the color game, it doesn't. Don't hide behind color and believe lies. You are not inferior. Nobody is inferior. God created you, has a stamp upon you, and nobody can change that. Do not let what others think about you becomes your reality. Some may have said that you are inferior to them and cannot amount to anything just because they've said it. Doesn't make it true. Just because they believe it, it doesn't make it true. I'm talking to you as an individual. You were born, you went through the birth canal alone. You were born at an instant alone. You have your unique fingerprint. You don't share it with any other person. You are an individual first before becoming part of some ethnic group. And that is why your identity is not tied to that of anybody or to any ethnic group. You are an individual first. You need to understand that. And that is why it's sad that some people allow how they dress, how they speak, what they eat to become their identity. No, you can change those things. But you cannot change the image of God that has been imprinted on you. When you see an iPhone, how do you know it's an Apple product? They have their logo imprinted on it. When you see a Toyota car, you know it's Toyota. Why? Because they have their logo on it. God's logo, God's image, it's on you. Don't let other people's expectation or their distortion to become your reality. You have to reject such pronouncements and believe who God says you are. It is on you to believe. Don't change the races. Change yourself by knowing your worth. To act contrary to this will be detrimental to your well-being, and it will keep you trapped in the grip of racism. You are not inferior. Reject it. Refuse it. Some may want to believe that you are the child of a lesser God. You are not. Because if you believe in God Almighty, the creator of the heavens and the earth, in Yahweh, you are his child, just as any other person who believes. To them that believe in his name, he gives them the power, the right to become children of God. There's no lesser child of God. There's no lesser Holy Spirit. There's no lesser. You are or you are not. Some people think that they are better than others and even act on such thoughts. They see themselves to be highly elevated. I don't know. They have a problem. We're going to try to understand what their problem is. And they discriminate against other people. They are living in self-delusion because they are not. You either have the stamp of God on you or you are not. And if you have the stamp of God on you, you have God's logo on you. Then you are a product that God has created and God stands by it. You are not inferior to anybody. Now remember this. I've said this over and over, and I will keep saying it until it hits home. There is one human race. There is one race, the human race, and we are all equal. We're not going to call for equality from other people. No, we already are. It's a fact. Like the sun coming out tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. We are all equal, although not the same. We don't have to be the same. Can you imagine if the world just had one color? What a boring world it's going to be. We like color, and God, in His infinite mercy, created us in different varieties. Some are tall, some are short, some have light skin, some have darker skin. It doesn't make them less human. And that is why this whole idea of dehumanizing babies in the womb because of their age and killing them in the name of abortion is evil of the highest category. Just because a baby is a day old, it doesn't make it less human. Where else do humans develop apart from the womb? Where else do humans develop apart from the womb? If you have an alternative, please let us know. Put it on the comment section. And don't tell me that is a part of the woman's body, because the part of a woman, a body part that has a mouth, has hands, has legs, has a brain, has a heart that is beating. Really? Have we lost our minds? May God help us. It is unfortunate that physical features such as the pigmentation of one's skin, the color of their hair, the shape of their nose are used to define who they are. Nobody is the shape of their nose, nobody is the color of their skin, nobody is the color of their hair. And if you are using the term colored people, will you drop it today? Have you met any people that are colorless? Give me a break. There are no colorless people. We all have color. Some are pink, some are red, some are black, if you want to call it like that. Some are brown, some are chocolate, some are maroon. All different shades of color. And to say some are colored, oh, colored people, and we keep using it. Can it stop with you? Can you start a change with you and stop calling people colored? Because we are all colored. People who subscribe to this type of thinking do not have their facts straight. They are wrong and will always be wrong. Therefore, do not listen to them. Your color does not define who you are. Racism is driven by fear, ignorance, greed, and selfishness. I'm going to say that again. Racism is driven by fear, ignorance, foolishness, greed, and selfishness. Now you explain to me why Africans caught their brothers and sold them to Europeans. Was it not greed, selfishness, fear? And the Europeans bought fellow humans and did what? Greed. We need to make some money. We're going to put them into slave labor. And slavery was not only practiced between Africans and Europeans. Slavery was practiced among Africans. Slavery was practiced among Europeans. You might have forgotten. St. Patrick went to Ireland because he saw slaves in Rome from Ireland that had been brought over. And so he started inquiring, where are these people from? They're in chains. What's going on? They told him about the place, Britannia, back in the day. And that's how he was able to take the gospel message out to go preach to those people. Slavery. And remember, the Jews were enslaved in Egypt. Slavery is here. It's been part of human history. And we talk about slavery all the time. We forget about what the Arabs did to Africans in the trans-Saharan trade, slave trade. Don't twin me off. Don't stop listening. I didn't say slavery is good. It's evil, the worst kind of evil. But again, it's greed. Buying and selling fellow human beings, selling human parts as we are doing today, killing babies and using their bodies for research, and selling baby parts. Greed, money, fame. So racism is driven by ignorance. If you still don't know that melanin, which determines the pigmentation of our skin, is meant to protect us from UV radiations, please take a course in take biology 101. Okay? Take it and get up to speed. There is zero, no scientific evidence for the subdivision of the human race. So all these divisions are social constructs that have no empirical basis. Sadly, many people are allowing the ignorance of other people to influence how they view themselves and what they believe about themselves. Let God be right and let any other person be wrong. Let God be right. He says, you are my child, you have my stamp of approval, you believe that, don't believe the lies. It is written, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. We talked about that. You are wondrously, miraculously made. You are the apple of God's eye, and you are created in his image and likeness. If you believe this, then racism will bow at your feet. Don't let anybody trying to look down on you, treat you as a subhuman. Don't let them get away with it. And the way you do it is by knowing who you are, is by affirming the fact that you are God's child, your identity is in Christ, and that you are not inferior. Therefore, instead of trying to change the races who are driven by ignorance, fear, greed, and selfishness, focus on changing your belief system. For racism to work, it needs two kinds of people: those who out of ignorance believe and act as if they are superior, and those who believe that they are inferior because they have been told they are. You may be saying right now that racism goes beyond what happens between two individuals, that it is institutionalized. This is why laws must be passed to counteract institutionalized racism. That is why in some countries, good laws have been passed to fight racism and discrimination, but laws alone will not deliver. The law is not going to change how you feel about yourself. The law is not going to change what you believe about who you are. And that is why I'm here to tell you today, child of God, listen to me and listen to me carefully. You are not inferior. God does not create inferior products. He does not create inferior people. If you believe that you're a child of God, you are not inferior. No matter what you've read, what you've been told, it's a lie. Your skin color does not define who you are. Society may act otherwise. It's left to you to believe that, to believe what God says about you. The laws are ineffective because racism is a malady of the heart. We said when we peel back the mirage of racism, what we find below is what? Sin, the desperate wickedness in the hearts of people. That is what has been manifested. Racism is a malady of the heart. It needs internal transformation, not external legislation. I didn't say legislation is bad. But legislation is not going to help you change how you view yourself. Are you a child of God? Do you know that? Do you have the witness of the Holy Spirit that you're a child of God? If not, you can change that today by giving your life to Jesus. The old belief system of superiority must be replaced by the basic fact that there is only one human race, and no one is more human than the other. I know in animal farm it says all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Racism is trying to tell us all are human, but some are more human than others. It's a lie from the pit of hell. None is more human. None is more human than the other. Inferiority complex is a malady of the heart as well. And laws can only do so much to liberate people from this phantom. I call it a phantom because just because you believe that you're inferior doesn't make you inferior. You are not. The truth is that you are not. Many lives have been destroyed and so much potential lost because of wrong programming. After the persistent and constant bombardment of derogatory messages and fabricated lies, yes, fabricated lies, people internalize these lies and start believing them. Tell people a lie long enough, often enough, and they'll start believing it to be true. Because you get programmed in your subconscious mind, you start acting on it. You are not inferior. You are not inferior. Can you tell yourself right now, I'm not inferior. I am God's child. I am not inferior. God does not create inferior people. I am not inferior. You need to believe that. You need to accept that. You need to speak it. You need to walk in it for you to be free. I say this because what you believe is what you are eventually going to act on. The truth is simple. None of us consulted to be born on a particular continent. We had nothing to do with the color of our skin, hair, and shape of our nose. Therefore, there's no point in wishing to be somebody else. You were not consulted to be given a particular amount of melanin in your skin. Get over it. Your mission in life is tied to the tools and resources you were born with. Those things in your life that you cannot change, they are not liabilities, they are assets. If you've never looked at it from that perspective, today I give you the permission. I'm saying that those things you cannot change are the same tools that you need to accomplish your purpose and your mission in life. Stop running away from them. Embrace them and celebrate God for what He has done for you. Now is the time to start appreciating and leveraging those things that are unique and particular about you. The color of your skin or the shape of your nose, or whatever, the color of your hair, whatever it is. Leverage those things. I tell people all the time, I wrote a book, Coming to America. If I was born in America, I would not have written that book. I'll write a different book, isn't it? Why do you keep wishing you were born in a different continent? Stop playing God. There is a reason, a purpose why you were born in a particular continent by particular parents on a particular day. It's good. Don't regret it. Embrace it, and you'll be set free. The worst trap is that of living. The worst trap is that of having a victim mentality and playing the blame game. There are three enemies that you must watch out against and fight them. And fight them. Blaming, complaining, and excuses. If you're fond of doing those three things, you are not going to go far. You lose control, you lose control, you lose control, and you empower the external to limit you. When you play the blame game, you say, oh, They did this to me. They said this about me. They treated me like this. They think about me like this. What do you, the question is, it's not what other people have written or the movies they've made or the stereotypes they have about you that matters. Please, let me say this and underscore it. I want you to listen carefully. I didn't say stereotypes should be tolerated. I didn't say people who look down on other people should be tolerated. No, what I'm saying is this. Yes, there are some people out there who, out of ignorance and fear, think that there's something that they are not. Some of them have acted movies, written books, and whatever they do. Yes, it's not acceptable. However, this is what really counts. It's not the treatment that has been given to you. It's not what has been published about you. It's not the lies that have been told. You need to understand this. What do you believe about yourself? What is the internal dialogue that you are having with yourself? Do you know your worth? Do you know your identity? Do you know you're a child of God? Do you believe that you are not inferior? Do you? Nobody's going to help you do that. It's you that has to do it. And that's why today I'm here to remind you, stop blaming other people. Stop making excuses for remaining in the place of inferiority complex. How do you treat yourself? Do you see yourself valuable? What do you tell yourself? If you don't change that internal dialogue, forget. It's not going to work. It has to start with you. Forget about the person who is foolish enough to think you are less human. Don't worry about them. Worry about yourself. You need to be human enough, believe it enough for it to be made manifest. There's never any justification for hatred or any other racist tendencies. And these behaviors should and must always be condemned. I've condemned them. That said, no matter what somebody says to you, and no words hurt, sure, or how they act towards you and treat you, it is your reaction that determines the outcome. You got the power. That's what I'm trying to say. Forget about all this grammar. What I'm saying is this. They will try on the outside. They will try to program your mind. They will try to work on you. They will try to trample on you. They will try to treat you in a way. You should know who you are. Don't let them get you. You are not inferior. The color of your skin doesn't make you inferior. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. If you believe it and you blame those people who are trying to treat you less human, that is their fault, then you are not serious. What are you doing about it? They say you're a donkey, you just accept it. Are you really a donkey? Do you believe that? Remember the madman who picks your clothes and instead of looking for another set of clothes and putting on, you are now running around naked? Who is not a madman? You are. You are believing a lie. You are walking in fear. You are walking in foolishness. Because you are not what other people say you are. You are what God says you are. Don't believe a lie. Believe the truth. The truth is that you have God's stamp of approval on you. You relinquish your power when you allow the victim mentality and blame game to take hold of you. You relinquish power and control. Focus on developing mental toughness and strengthening your belief system. Simple. Created in God's image and likeness. There's one human race, you're human. End of conversation. This approach will deliver you from mental slavery and break the invisible shackles that racism is trying to bind on you. Don't allow the social construct to control you. Don't allow the social construct to control you. There is one race. There's one human race. Please, when next time somebody says something is racist or it's a racist tendency or it's racism, can you ask them to define what racism is for you? What they believe by to be racism? Just ask them, what is racism? You're going to be surprised with the answers that you get. I mean, some of you keep insisting, oh, racism, you're refusing racism. How can you dare say racism is dead? What is racism? Define it. It's a social construct. It's a boogeyman. What is actually happening is that the heart of man is desperately wicked. A heart that doesn't fear God, a heart that's not subjected, surrender to God. Watch out. They're capable of doing things that we cannot even talk about. It's evil. Thank you for watching. Share this video. Stay tuned for more updates. God bless you. Have a fantastic rest of your day. The broadcast is refusing to come to an end. I don't know what's going on. What's the problem in broadcast? Okay, I had issues with. The broadcast is refusing to end. What is